On the other hand, Shapiro quotes philosopher William Bechtel to the effect that the height of the fly balls or the angle of the spindle arms do represent the speed of the flywheel. Bechtel says, quote, "The fact that the angle of the spindle arms represents the speed of the flywheel becomes more clear when we consider why it was inserted into the mechanism to begin with. The flywheel itself has a speed, but there is no way to use this directly to open and close the valve. The spindle and arms were inserted so as to encode information about the speed in a format that could be used by the valve opening mechanism. The reason no one has to comment explicitly on the fact that the arm angle stands in for and thus represents the speed of the flywheel is that this system is very simple, and most people see the connection directly. But if someone does not understand how the governor works, the first thing one would draw attention to is how the spindle arm angle registers the speed of the flywheel." End quote. According to Bechtel, the angle of the fly balls not only carries information about the speed of the flywheel, but the governing system uses this correlation as a stand-in for the speed of the flywheel. Hence, the angle does represent the speed of the flywheel. Like Bechtel, Prince and Barcelo claim that the angle of the fly balls represents flywheel speed because the system uses this angle to indicate the flywheel speed. They point out that without this, the system wouldn't work. On the other hand, Van Gelder claims that, quote, "Because the arms are directly linked to the throttle valve, the angle of the arm is at all times determining the amount of steam entering the piston, and hence at all times the speed of the engine depends in some interesting way on the angle of the arms. Thus, arm angle and engine speed are at all times both determined by and determining each other's behavior." End quote. Cheel and Beer relate this point directly to human cognition. They say that, quote, "Adaptive behavior is the result of the continuous interaction between the nervous system, the body, and the environment. One cannot assign credit for adaptive behavior to any one piece of this coupled system." End quote. Van Gelder describes these complex causal relationships as dynamic coupling and as being typical of quantitative dynamic explanations. The distinct components, such as the arm and the engine, are treated as coupled systems. An equation describing the evolution of each component would contain a slot to factor in the other component's current states. Technically, this can be stated as follows. The state variables of the first system are parameters of the second and vice versa. This kind of complex, constant, and mutual interaction is, Van Gelder and others claim, much closer to the true profile of agent-environment interactions than the simple perception, computation, action sequence of conventional cognitive science. But why, asks Shapiro, does the fact that the arm's angle is coupled with the flywheel's speed prevent it from representing that speed? He speculates as to what Van Gelder means by non-representational. He suggests that representations in computers are discrete states with a determinate content. They stand in for some other feature. They can be used to serve in an algorithmic solution. But none of this applies to the governor's flyballs. The angle of the flyball arms varies continuously with the speed of the flywheel and the setting of the throttle valve. The angle of the arms is never frozen, measured, and then used to calculate adjustments to the speed of the flywheel. There's only ever a smooth, continuous interaction between arm angle, flywheel speed, and throttle opening.